Well, hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Halo podcast. No, I mean Prime Time Gaming with Mr. BoomStick. And of course, folks, well, a posse of friends. This is going to be a big show. I obviously we have two. And we also have, well, I don't know. I think something happened today that might have gotten everyone excited. A little bit of Halo news dropped. What am I BSing about? It wasn't a little, it might have been the best news of 2021, folks. Not only did we get full on 6 minutes and 20 seconds worth of an overview of the campaign, we got confirmation that 343 Industries is going to deliver its multiplayer and its single player in a big way December 8th. And you know something? Hats off to them. The task in front of them was daunting. I'm going to play the trailer a couple times if you missed it, folks. But let's get into the introductions. And I'm going to first start with two members of a small podcast that I think everyone needs to get their ears to. They're from the Talk Story podcast, and they are also known for talking about video games, movies, shows, and of course, news local style. They have a very unique way of breaking down the news. They are Hawaiian grown folks. That's right. Their podcast is all the way from the beautiful Hawaii. And of course, I want to first introduce Uso Vinny. Dude, it is a pleasure to have you a part of today's show. How the heck are you?
Oh man, I'm doing awesome. I'm happy to be here. Glad. Thank you for having me on, Mr. Boomstick, and I'm glad to talk about Halo.
Yes, well, it is going to be one heck of a show, and I'm glad to have you on. We've been, talking behind the scenes in the DMs for a couple of weeks, and we finally got you on. And next up, Bango Mango 91. What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Yee! Bruh, you gotta understand how surreal it is to be on the show and just hear you say, "Hello, everybody."
Well done. That was real good. Well done.
Thank you. Hey, I've practiced it as a fan, as a true fan of the Double Barrel Gaming podcast. Just so people know, like I've been rocking with you, Boom, ever since you've had the original logo where it's just like you like this.
Yes.
Back before you did up, and then the cut off, sawed off double barrel shotguns, bro. Like I've been rocking it since then. I've been a big, huge fan. And then just for our podcast, it was literally your chats within our DM, just shooting out to you and then giving us advice back. That really helped us even get started in the platform in general. So I appreciate you for having me and Vinny on, brother. Words cannot express, and I'm super stoked to talk about Halo.
Let me first off by saying that it's those words are awesome and they're very kind. And listen, like we talked about in the green room prior to going live, the point of a community, right? The point of the word community means together, right? And one of the things that this entire podcast and all of my shows were built on was community first. And obviously helping you guys out with some just advice is literally the least I can do. Having you on the show is, again, to get your voices out there is something that I've been known for. I'm proud to say that I'm known for it. A lot of fellas on this show are here not only because they're talented, because they want to be here. And I was blessed to be able to give them an opportunity to be a part of this each and every week. And I couldn't imagine doing the show without them. I mean, they deliver each and every week. And again, if we can bring some new subscribers to your incredible podcast, then I've done my job as a host. But it is a pleasure to have you. But let's get first with the Wandering Dutch. A couple of months ago, you hit 1,000 subs. And I know that you guys are going to be close to 2 and then 3 and then 5 and then 10. And it's well deserving. Not only are your customs incredible, but the positive vibes that you guys bring on each and every show that you do is amazing. Welcome to a very special Halo edition of Primetime Gaming, brother.
Yes, thank you, Boom. Always a pleasure to be here, and it's great to get some more up and coming content creators up in the mix with this slanderous goodness today. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, we are gonna go. We're gonna take the interwebs to task. We did see. Now listen, as much as it's safe to say that Halo's trending, Xbox is trending, Microsoft is trending right now for good reason. A momentous day happened. We finally got some, real solid gameplay from Halo Infinite. This is a game that is going to potentially define this generation for Xbox. The same way Halo Combat Evolved basically paved the way for them to be a company that was in the conversation of a home console. The same way Halo 3 paved the way for the Xbox 360. And I think that what we saw today was brilliant, but we're going to get into everyone's commentary about graphics and gameplay and expectations, and then of course we're going to talk about some of the some of the naysayers out there. We're not going to mention any by name, of course we don't do that here on this program, but there were some people that tried to detract from the excitement of the community, and I got to say, man, some of the people that I know, I was actually quite disappointed that they tried to downplay what this was about. And of course, like a good police officer or former police officer that I am, I brought the evidence. So we're going to be seeing side by side shots of what it looked like in 2020 and what it looked like today. And again, I have a couple of spares of glasses. If anyone needs to borrow them to see the difference, then you should just ask. But Kay Asante, you continue to deliver incredible shows Saturday mornings, and of course Thursdays with the slanderous one, which we'll get to him in a second. Welcome to the program, and I love the backdrop, brother. I mean, it's so fitting for today.
What are you talking about, Boom? I just happened to, wake up and just
it was just there.
It was just, I don't know, man. No.
He's just decorated his house with a giant
decorated for the
holidays.
I just walked around and I saw somebody like, no. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Sante's like Beyonce. He woke up like
I just woke up like this. I'm saying, like, what you trying to say?
I love it. That's great.
It's wonderful having
you. Flows in the wind.
I just wafts. Exactly. Thank you so much. It's awesome having new content creators here, as Boom has alluded to. I myself was put on because of Mr. BoomStick, so it's always wonderful to have others, following down that path. And if BoomStick says you're righteous, you're definitely righteous, because I've followed a few of your tips, and I have a lot new podcasts that I'm listening to now, and many of them deserve voices. So it's great to have you guys here, and of course my PTG crew. It's going to be a little bit scandalous today. It's going to be real cool.
It's going to be a lot scandalous because, we'll get to it in a second. Everborn, first of all, brother, congratulations on the continued success. I know you got a big Kickstarter coming up. Can't wait to help and support that. We're going to be looking forward to help you and get obviously get the word out for this second one, because the first one was so successful. Welcome to the program, brother. I know that you have been in the spaces. The fact that you made it out alive is shocking, but you're here. How the heck are you?
I did. I'm good, man. Like I said, man, I'm coming to you straight from the spice mines of Arrakis. I have an axe to grind, and I want to bring some things to light. And those people who you were disappointed with, they were the usual suspects, if you know what I mean. The people that have been sort of naysayers and downplayers and concern trollers since the beginning of this thing. So that was to be expected. Yes. Right. But a year ago, they actually had something. They had teeth a year ago. Now they've lost the narrative. Right. I think there's more positivity around Halo as a whole now, so to where the people that weren't actually genuine, I think it's very transparent right now. You can see it. So we'll get into more of that. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have some community members on. That's exactly how I started. I was in the chats, and I reached out to Boom. And he put the call out. He said, if you're a community member, reach out to me. He wasn't just talking about it. He lived by it. And now 3 podcasts later, here I am. So and he helped me get the word out, and he connected me with COG and all those things, connected me with other people. And those are the things that help move the Everborn brand forward. So you played a major part in that, Boom, and it's nice to see you continuing that trend. And I know you said you started with Mooch, so we got to give Mooch his credit too. It's all a cycle, and we're all a community, and we don't have to fight. We can help each other out. There's enough for everybody. So this is good, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you here, brother. And obviously, helping you out is literally the least I can do. You're here every week, and you bring it, and we love you. We love the commentary. We love the opinions. But folks, listen. Before we get into our personal thoughts of what exactly happened, like we're going to get raw reactions from everyone. After they watch this trailer for the 20th time, because I've seen it about 20 times personally. I do want to bring into, of course, the conversation almost immediately on how there were some, and of course, there's going to be naysayers and everyone's opinion. Look, I said this, and some people got really defended by it. That I said that if you walked away from this unimpressed, then you're obviously a hater, or you just want to see Microsoft fail. Now, somebody might have their volume up in the background, so just turn it down because I can hear something repeating. But listen, let's bring out the evidence, right? Like, and you say, Boom, what evidence are you talking about? Well, I wish I had who did this, but I know that Jamie Moran, who's a friend of this show, friend of this community, he put out an incredible video today. Please get over to Jamie Moran UK on YouTube and sub that man. He is he's still under 2,000 subs, and it's almost a disgrace. The guy works hard, he's honest, and he's been on my show a dozen times. Put out an incredible video today, and he did some side-by-side stuff. So I obviously searched the interwebs, and I found some side-by-side stuff to prove my case that yes, not only is there a difference, folks, there's a significant difference. So I want to bring up a picture first of Master Chief looking out at the broken Halo win. This is from the July 2020 reveal. Obviously, there's a lot of textures that are missing. There is debris missing. It looks a little flat, right? So this is exactly to what Everborn was saying, that they had teeth back in 2020. Well, let's bring up what happened today. And folks, I think the evidence is pretty apparent. You can basically see there is scratches in his armor. You can see dents. You can see pieces of debris floating. It's literally night and day. But it doesn't end there, because this comes up. Here is top part 2020 at the end of that video that a lot of people said, hey, listen, there's no textures. The hair doesn't look real. And there is at the bottom, folks. Easy for you to see that there is a significant difference in the from 2020 to 2021. So let me just continue with this. But again, folks, that's what we got. I'm gonna go first to Bango Mango. Okay, so it's Halo Day, right? We all know that we were all told by Microsoft and good old Greenie and 343 that today was going to be the day that they were going to show us the Halo Infinite campaign overview. We did know and Benji Sales, friends of this program, has said that it was going to be between 5 and 10 minutes. He's right on. He's 6 minutes 20 seconds. What were your takeaways from this, brother?
So we run by Hawaii time. So when this campaign trailer dropped, it was exactly 3 a.m. So I was sleeping. But being an avid Halo fan myself, I had to wake up at 3 a.m. So I woke up, I checked out the trailer in my bed, sleeping wife right next to me, and watched that bad boy in 720p. Okay. Now I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a great trailer. And I fell back to sleep because I needed some energy for today's show. Okay. Then I came back and I watched it again in 4K on my TV. And all I got to say in regards to the graphics thing that you guys brought up is I do not know what people are talking about when it comes to the graphics, brother. I have
talk that talk.
Clue. I'm talking it, bro. I am talking. I have no clue. I have no clue at all. I watch. Are we watching with the same eyeballs? You know what I mean? And my gosh, dude, it was so stinking nice, so stinking nice. And even in regards to the campaign trailer in itself, the last time I checked it, on the Xbox profile, it was 94K likes, and it was 2.3K dislikes. And I did a little bit of the math in regards to that. You know, that's 98.12% people enjoying that trailer.
Yeah.
And only 1.88% of people not enjoying their trailer or just trolling in general. And so for me, as an avid Halo fan, you know, jamming it from Halo 1 and the LAN parties all the way up to Reach, you know, still got to jam 4, still got to jam 5, but I'm waiting to do that this November so that I can just be ready to just be fully immersed in Infinite. But, you know, it's a good trailer, dude. It hit all the aspects of Halo 100%. Yeah. And I think 50% of the battle when it comes to Halo, 50% of the battle is the vibe. You know, I think it was Jez that said on top his podcast that the 343, what they're dealing with is they're going to have to play a balancing act. They're trying to satisfy the old school and the new school. They're trying to figure out how to modernize this, and they're trying to figure out how to also bring a little bit of that Halo feel. And so when you watch the trailer, from the opening sequence of just hearing the weapons speak to the camaraderie that you see between them two, and then the open world of Halo itself, kind of bringing back that combat evolved type of feel. Yeah, it's hitting the vibes. It's hitting the vibes for me, at least, in my opinion, 100%. And I think that's 50% of the battle, just to start off.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're onto something with that. Obviously, you know, Halo is 20 years old. Those players are us. I'm part of the old guard. You know, obviously, I'm the oldest guy in the room. Pretty much almost any time we have a podcast, because I podcast with a lot. I got into YouTube very late in my day. But you're right. They are trying to appeal to the Apex Legend and Call of Duty Warzone, and of course Fortnite crowds. Mm-hmm. And I think that was probably one of the driving forces to, hey, you know, we're going to make a great multiplayer, but we got to make it free to play so everyone could get involved. I think that's probably one of the biggest keys to Microsoft dropping that pay for barrier that blocked free to play games for so many years. I think the Halo was at the crux of that conversation, and here we are. They're launching it in December, and it is going to be free to play, and it's launching the same day as the campaign, which of course is what we're here to talk about. And what's interesting, and I think what is super exciting for anyone that loves both aspects, is that, you know, some people could have suggested that, oh, well, Halo's just, you know, you beat it and it's one and done. Well, that is not, in fact, of course, the case. You're getting a multiplayer, and you're getting 23 maps at launch, which is just madness. It's very exciting. But let's get to Uso Vinny. Vinny, when you finally got a chance to sit down and view it once, 5 times, 10 times, maybe even 100 times at this point, as a Halo fan, as someone that wants to see Xbox get their due, win one for the fans, what were your takeaways from the single player overview?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, at 3 a.m. I deleted my Twitter, my Twitter app, just so I could fully enjoy the campaign. I could let it simmer down and really digest what I saw. And I loved every minute of it. I loved the fact that I feel like they really nailed the open world aspect about it. And just from the combat to what you can do, from throwing the fusion coils and hijacking bounties midair, and all of that is just awesome. And I wasn't really surprised from the haters, because as you guys saw earlier in the week with Forza, a lot of the downplay and whatnot, it's expected at this point. And so to me, I feel like, and to all the Halo fans out there, you know, what matters is if you are satisfied as a Halo fan. And I am definitely satisfied.
Yeah, I obviously agree with that sentiment. I think that coming off of 2020, which again I've said this publicly, I walked away from 2020's reveal as it looked like Halo and the gameplay looked fun, but I understood that from a graphical point of view, when you have a Series X as your main go-to, or high powered PC, you're going to want next gen graphics, and obviously based on what we saw today, the year delay was absolutely worth it. Before I bring the Wandering Dutch into the conversation, because I know he's going to have a lot to say, and of course Kay Asante and then Everborn Saga, I got to read out some of these super chats. The first one of the day comes to a good friend of the show, Aaron JF94. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat. Says, thanks, Boom, for all that you do. Well, thank you, sir, for the generosity and, of course, the very kind words. Brian Hopkins, who is going to be jumping on. He's another up-and-coming community member that we're going to be bringing on in the coming weeks. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, excited to hear the panel's thoughts on the Halo vid drop today. Thanks for all you do, Boom, and thank you for introducing us to some awesome new guests. Well, dude, you're going to be a guest soon, so don't even sweat it, and it's my pleasure as always. Lord Roughness, generous friend of the show, he drops a £5 super chat and says, Halo Infinite versus God of War coming to a PC near you, the slander. I love it. And Lucius Augustus drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, shout out to Kay Asante, Everborn, and Boom. Huge respect to you, gentlemen. You bring love and positivity. Halo Infinite is going to be great. And of course, I think he did not leave out particularly Wandering Dutch as well, because obviously he's a big part of this show. Dutch, you had some very interesting things to say, not only on your disappointment with people within the community who tried to downplay what we saw, but I also want you to talk about your personal excitement, because your story was funny, because you were doing something that you probably shouldn't have been doing while you were working, and that was trying to keep it in about the excitement for Halo. Talk about that, brother. How did you walk away as someone who had a chance to play the flighting? Actually, I think you played it the best out of all of us, because you had people swapping in and out. You had a dozen people waiting. That's the way you play Halo. That's the way I'm going to play Halo when we and I want whole crews. I actually hoping that we can get some sort of like a 12v12 of podcasters.
Absolutely no problem. I'll get that organized in seconds. In seconds. I know for a fact we'll have a full team of 24. And that won't even be difficult. No, it was. I was obviously, due to for everybody, the timing of when they released that trailer was just weird. Like 6 a.m. for some people, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning for others, and then what was it, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK and 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Europe, which is like the middle of a working day at the beginning of a week. Like, what is that? It's such a weird release time. I don't know, like, who at Xbox thought, I'm just going to disrupt the working day and just so they can't focus on what they need to do today. But I work in like heavily finance orientated, so I'm technically not allowed a phone near me unless it's work related. So, but Halo release trailer, and this was middle of the afternoon, so phone on desk, trailer, countdown timer. I'm just like, get the chat off screen, don't want to see that. And then looking down every 2 seconds, looking down, keeping an eye on the screen, and then like just seeing it. And then as soon as I got through to kind of the afternoon break, when I had a little 15-minute coffee break, watch the trailer again, and then when I got home, watch the trailer again on the big 4K. Obviously, I've got a 4K screen on my phone anyway, so that was glorious. But it's just not the same as when you watch it on a nice big screen, is it? So, but yeah, it's just honestly the improvements they've made in 12 months absolutely justifies that delay.
Yeah,
like 100%, and it's absolutely night and day. And like Kay Asante shared, obviously that really great comparison video in the private chat here as well, and that one really highlights the differences between every scene, and we're not just talking about the basic stuff like just the overall, but up until and including the original trailer we've seen has been completely revamped. Like, and they've showed off the same scenes again that we've seen before. But people who haven't really noticed can go back and see them side by side, and it's night and day difference on what they've added. And one other little sequence there that some people might have missed is Master Chief, when he on the 2020 trailer, when he's standing up and he's bringing him back into the ship for the first time, and he's got him hooked up, and then he drops down. He doesn't have the grappling hook on his arm. On the 2021 trailer, he does, and it's actually coming out of him because it's not technically switched on. It's outside of him there. So they've actually included the grappling hook in this trailer, and it never had it originally. But the detail on the ice on the glass is far superior. The level of detail that they've got on the externals for that particular trailer of the ship, and you see the kind of damaged Zeta ring, is vastly superior. The level of detail on not only obviously but we see in this again in the multiplayer, and we said in the multiplayer, if this is how good the multiplayer looks, the campaign's not going to look insane. Yeah. And it does. The level of detail is really held up across the board, from the detail on the armor, the detail on the weapons, every enemy type. The enemy types look really intriguing. Like some of the bosses, I cannot wait to see how that happens. But even things like the cinematics, like some of the things that we haven't come to expect in Halo is the blend of cinematics into gameplay. So we've seen like little sections at the beginning, for instance, of Halo 5 when you're jumping in. There's that awesome action sequence when you're jumping in for the first time on Halo 5, and you're all rocking down the hill, and then you come down and then you fall down the mountain. But there's a little gap that's kind of doesn't blend between the trailer and the gameplay, so it kind of disjoints a little bit. But I've seen little segments in here where they've tried to do the cinematic mixed with the gameplay a little bit like a one take like God of War did, where they're kind of going from one section straight into the other, straight into gameplay again. And that's the kind of stuff that this really will benefit from. And it's that blend of cinematic kind of epic moments blending straight into gameplay to kind of get you into the fight and get you into the story a little bit more. Keep you kind of connected into one and kind of nice and blended. It's honestly, it's really got me excited. So the one thing that a lot of us were worried about was, first of all, right, multiplayer is on point. Like, we're not worried about the multiplayer at all now. It is absolutely on point. Plays well, looks amazing. It's so much fun. And I said the other day, campaign needs to hit, and it really needs to hit. And from what I've seen there, the story sounds really intriguing. I'm really intrigued to see all these new bosses and sub-bosses. And I could go on for this forever, but I am really, really, really looking forward to Halo Infinite now.
Yeah. We're going to get into the gameplay once we get everyone's opening opinion. Kay Asante, let's go to you next on this. You had a chance to watch it multiple times. I believe the 4K version is already up. It was almost up immediately after the trailer went up. I think it was maybe 15 minutes afterwards. They had the 4K version. I watched it on my big screen multiple times, and I was unbelievably blown away. Where do you fall for what happened today? And what are your thoughts on the reveal that we wanted?
So first and foremost, let me get rid of this because he's scaring me. Hold on 1 second here. There we go. Much better. I would say honestly, where I'll go with, and we'll talk about how we feel about what we see on screen. And I think if you check my Twitter post today, you'll know exactly how I feel about it. What I want to say first and foremost is we all need to get off of 343's back. Stop it. We need to get off of 343's back. They haven't corrected this ship. They have done something that no other studio has been able to accomplish, short of maybe the Coalition, which is take something that existed before and not only give you that feeling back, but move forward. It took them a long time to do it. And as has been established by many on this show and in many communities, the most toxic community is the Halo community. But by and large, as the numbers show, they're in the 90th percentile of approval, right? Get off the back about it. At this point, all should be forgiven. Now, don't get me wrong. If it shows up and all of a sudden the story takes a left turn and you want to give them some more smoke, We'll be there for that. But for now, you know, everybody's complaining about this and complaining about that, and now we and the pilot looks goofy. Look at his face and his hair. Look at his hair now. Look at his face now.
You know again, this proves that like exactly what Wandering Dutch was saying. Mm-hmm. The year did make the difference.
The year made the difference, and let's really like put this into real picture here. Everything you saw was most likely a PC build, still technically last gen.
Yeah.
There will be no next gen patch when this thing releases, so it can only look better from there, right?
Yep.
So for all of those who are, you know, back and forth, you have the right to get upset when 343, you know, takes your beloved franchise and presumably doesn't do right with it, right? We can all agree that they've done right with it now, right? And we'll wait and see what the full story comes out with. But until then, I would say cut them some slack now. Find your send a message to David Ellis on Twitter. That man loves tweeting back and forth. You know, send him a message and send him some virtual roses because they all deserve it. They all deserve it. They have 100%. been bearing the brunt of such like vitriol for so damn long, you know. And now here we are, and we're seeing the benefits of all of this. You know, as far as what was on screen. Oh, I have nothing more to add than what the Dutch has already spoken on and what we will continue to speak on. It was magnificent. It was glorious. They did everything they needed to do. You know, I'm optimistic in seeing what it looks like on the 1X and on the One, seeing how that translates. Because that's what they're about, right? They're really about showing and proving, hey, we've done the work. So I'm really excited to see what it looks like on the lowest performing machines. But I'm very happy with what I saw. I mean, ecstatic.
I absolutely agree. I think you're onto something, and yeah, it would. You know what? I think that the team at 343 can now take us. I think the majority of people that are actually really excited for Halo, that have been Halo fans long time and new time, saw this and was like, yeah, this December is going to be all about Halo. And I think that what you're seeing is an almost 180 in regards to how we've seen Sony dominate month after month after month with their first party games. And now we're seeing that, you know, obviously in October, we just had the new RTS come out that just dropped. That's getting incredible reviews. That's obviously in October. November,
Age of Empires, right?
The Age of Empire, yes. Age of Empire 4 is getting very good reviews. Again, not for Boom per se, but people do dig that. We know that we have obviously Forza Horizon 5 in Mexico, which is going to get potentially, I mean, it's going to win Racer of the Year in almost every category that it goes into. I think the game is so good and looks so well done that it could potentially end up in that pick for Game of the Year in Keeley's, to be honest with you, outside of the Racer.
Did you guys see the Digital Foundry reporter? They were freaking blown away. Like, they were floored at what they got to see.
You're talking about Forza. You're talking
Forza,
about Forza, not Halo,
not Halo, Forza.
It's going to take them some time to get us to Halo. We'll probably get that later in the week.
More than likely. And they're going to dissect it. And I honestly can't wait to hear what they have to say. You know what? Let's get Everborn Saga. Everborn, you have a lot to say. You walked in here with a swagger for good reason. Talk about it, brother. Where were your feelings after the trailer dropped?
Well, first of all, I just want to point out, what did we say 2-3 weeks ago about giving 343 their roses and remembering that they're people and they're working hard to give us the best product possible, while people are yelling in their ear that they should be fired and this and that, right? It feels so good to see the general positivity around this. It felt good to see the positivity around the flight, but then now the campaign that everyone said that they were worried about. And I don't want you to think about this, right? There was a little bit of the I like to call them the well actually crowd, or the butt brigade. I liked it, but you know, people were saying, "Oh, why didn't we see unedited a long clip of a level?" Guess what? We saw that last year, right? And nobody complained about gameplay last year, right? So we know what it plays like, right? Through the flight, we know what it feels like. We know what it sounds like. And now you have seen address the issues that people had last year. Did you see any pop in?
No.
With those draw distances anywhere?
Nothing.
Right? So you saw the long draw distances. You saw the texture upgrade. You saw, yes, it's not ray tracing yet. It's pre-baked lighting, but you still saw these big lighting updates. You saw textures. You saw no pop in, and you saw these long draw distances. Right? So all of those issues that people said they had, because I don't remember. Maybe I'm too young to remember. Nobody had a problem with the gameplay last year, and everyone loved the multiplayer for it. So again, now with this, what is left to be concerned about? Maybe you can say the story, but I don't think we have enough information to be worried there either way. And we know 343 can tell a story because if you've played Halo 4. So I say all that to say what they've done, right? And I want to. I think you were on the show on Iron Lords earlier with Attic and Cog,
yes.
right?
Yep.
And Attic said something that was so important. I don't want to hear anybody saying, "Oh, they need to change up Halo." You have never played a Halo like this. The levels that they've evolved this sandbox to, right? What they're how the grapple hook and repulsor changed the entire dynamic. It is not also this sort of Far Cry Just Cause style of sandbox. You've never played anything like this. So they've vastly and dramatically changed the game, not to mention turning the multiplayer into a service style game. How else could you change this, right? How else could you how far off do you think that this should change? And so I say that to say they have been listening, they have made it into something different while preserving the feeling that we all loved. And to see the Halo community, who is probably the most toxic, but closely followed by another community, which shall not be mentioned, not on this show. We won't do that.
Unicorn Nation.
Yes.
And the funny thing is, we all know exactly who he's talking about right away.
Right. So
it's the mags, the hierarchy. It's all right.
Right.
Yeah.
He's late for a reason. I mean, they had an emergency meeting.
Double agent.
He's a double agent. Yeah. But again, the how could you, if you're a gamer, right? Take all of that stuff out of it, right? You're a gamer. How do you look at this and not be excited? Like, how do you, this? I even the people that are complaining, they even have to admit, because they've all waited, right? Like, I don't know what it's gonna feel like, and then the multiplayer is coming in hot, and then the multiplayer comes out and it's undeniable because everybody has it in their hands and loves it. So you can't go with that line anymore. So then the line was, well, we haven't seen campaign yet. They must be hiding it. Now they show you the campaign. But
some of them are pre-rendered. It's pre-rendered versus in-engine, man. Come on now.
By and large, everyone loves this. And now they're saying, well, it didn't wow me enough. Is that all? Right? And these are the same people who it's the usual suspects, time and time again, I have a problem. It's coming in hot. I don't like it. Where's the campaign? I don't know if this is going to be good. Fire 343. Bring back Bungie. Do you know what? I want to bring up a nice factoid, right? Bungie has released 2 games, even though it's 1 game, but we'll call it 2, Destiny 1 and 2, since they left the Halo franchise. Yes? No?
That's correct.
Okay. 343 has released 3 games, but we won't count Master Chief because that was just fixing all of the bugs in Bungie's games and repackaging it, right?
But hot takes.
I told you I was coming from the spice mines of Arrakis. Now you want something even more spicy.
Let's get the spice.
You want something even more spicy. What are the Metacritics on Halo 4 and 5 versus the Metacritics on Destiny 1 and 2?
By a 10-point difference at least.
Oh, really?
Yes, that is
correct.
And
they want to bring back Bungie.
Yeah.
Interesting. So again, I think that what we have been going by when talking about 343 is not facts, but generally or universally accepted opinions. And I do not accept those opinions anymore. They released 2 quality games that had issues. But today, right now, if anyone releases an 87 Metacritic and an 84 Metacritic, you would say, oh my God, that's an amazing game. That's a banger. And they've done that. And now it looks like they're going to do something different. But what I would love to see, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but what I would love to see is if Phil works with Mr. Keighley, gets him to change the rules and include this as a contender.
Well, it's funny you say that.
Could you imagine people's faces? Could you imagine the salt?
It would be
if they change the date and say we're going to accept games in December. But and then this gets to qualify.
But real quick,
it's funny because they actually did that a couple of years ago with a Nintendo game. They allowed a Nintendo game to be a part of it that came out in December. I don't recall what game that was.
Yeah, it was because of review copies were out a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, let's hope that they
bending the rules.
Yeah, listen.
But don't you think that he will lose his ability to blow on controllers at that point? Come on now.
Maybe.
He might lose his ability to blow on exclusive controllers.
All I'm saying, from what I've seen today, from what I played in the flight, and the unedited footage that we saw last year, because nobody had an issue with gameplay back then, and this gameplay looks even better than that because there's more dynamic.
We're gonna get that's actually gonna be the come around question is the gameplay and
one
what
word.
we saw. Yeah,
one word. You're from New York, Boom. John Gotti.
Well, I would say dope, but that's not what John Gotti would say.
No. It's the acronym. His last name's the acronym. You'll get it. Don't worry. They get it. The audience gets it.
Right over the Mohawk. But we have to welcome in the Tarty. And folks, listen, I look, everyone that becomes a part of this podcast becomes of a watch system. And I don't have to watch anyone else, but I do have to put a watch on the mag because we know that he is the leader of Unicorn Nation. And we know a couple of weeks ago that he, quote unquote, took off to be with the family. But we know what family he really meant. No, all jokes aside, the Mag, welcome back, brother. Yes. Mag, listen, all jokes aside, today was a day of days.
Yes, it was.
For a lot of reasons. And everyone on the panel so far has had incredible things to talk about. Graphics. We're going to break down the gameplay and what we saw. And what we saw was just straight up incredible. But for you, seeing the trailer come full circle, because that is exactly what happened. And we keep saying that this been delayed a year. Actually, it's been delayed more so because July is when they showed it, and I know they didn't announce the delay, but we kind of knew that it was going to come. So from July to July, we got ourselves 12 months, and then obviously you move it forward a couple of months, and here we are. It obviously appears that the big delay that potentially cost Microsoft millions of dollars is going to be worth it. Not only have we been proven, you can see on the screen, as the flighting, this was the third flighting that I got a chance to be a part of. Not only are we going to get an incredible multiplayer, but based on what we've seen today, it appears that we are getting an absolutely astounding single player in a vein that we've never had before, an open world Halo with a lot to do. And obviously, I mean, what were your takeaways watching this trailer?
Well, I got to tell you first, it was a very busy day Okay, so I worked 13 hours and came straight here, so I had to watch it like in the dry storage behind the kitchen, so with people yelling at me for food. But anyways, I got it done, and I watched the trailer. But you know what? I got to tell you, the first thing that hit me when I saw it was before I not even looking at the graphics or the story or what was going on. The first thing that came to my mind, it is a narrative that I've been screaming about since I started this show 2 years ago with you, Boom, or a year and a half ago with you, Boom. And on the very first show I did with you, we talked about how Halo is not only going to be that 10-year experience, blah, 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 but we also said the key importance to Halo was mindshare. And what happened today is that they solidified the mind share for the rest of 2021.
Hey, Mag, can I add one point to you? Just to add on to what you're saying? The mind share is so crazy that Sony had to put out a tweet to remind people that Horizon Forbidden West still exists.
Oh, yeah,
Did you see
right.
that?
They're like, hi, we're still here. And like, just shut up. You won't get to you in 2022. All right, enough. So here's the thing, though. Okay? Mindshare. And the one example that I've always used over and over and over again, and I apply it to literally everything I do, whether it's podcasting, whether it's what I do outside of here and everything else, I think of one man, and that's Howard Stern. Yes. And when Howard Stern was ruling the airwaves and had the mind share of the entire country, never mind country, the continents between Canada and the United States, okay, the people couldn't figure it out. They say, wait a minute, the people that hate him listen to him. Why? The people that love him listen to him. Why? Well, from that specific example is because they just said, well, we just want to hear what he's going to say next.
Yep.
What's going on with Halo right now? The people that, quote unquote, hate Halo, which, of course, I'm sure you guys all watch my video, which because they pretend to hate Halo, but you know what they're doing? They're off playing it as soon as they get off the air, right? So the thing is, the people who don't like Halo are talking about Halo.
Yes.
The people who love Halo are talking about Halo. So they've won the mind share. Now, Boom, I can ask you this very quickly. Have you heard a single peep about Call of Duty?
No. Nothing.
Have you heard a peep about Battlefield since the beta?
Nope. Nothing. And you know why that is? Because I have a very strange suspicion that they know they're going to get smoked because both games previewed in beta almost horrendously. So I think after, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Oh wait, hold on a minute. Hold on. I'm looking at the PlayStation Twitter account. They just had to say, here's some new details on Call of Duty Vanguard as well. They couldn't take it. They couldn't take it.
It's like the little kid pulling on your pant leg, trying to get attention while you're talking to the adults. Just
pick me.
Back to the kids' table until you guys come out with something more stronger for the end of the year. But anyways, that's a whole other story. The thing is, what I did see today was confidence.
Oh yeah,
and what I saw was confidence not only in the product, but by the developers, by Microsoft, by Xbox. Like you could see that they are proud of what's gone on. What is one of the first things that we see, or sorry, one of the last things that we see? Correct me if I'm wrong, but was that a remade Craig?
You know what? I think they specifically
the mohawk and the beard.
Yes.
Like
Mr.
front
T,
and
Craig.
center, going, "What's up?" Like you're doing this, like here we are. This is what we meant to do. You know, that kind of thing. It was right in your face. It was very bold. It was very aggressive. Now, Boom, I don't know how deep you want me to go here because
No, right. This is a conversational podcast. Go as deep into the earth as you want, brother. We're here for you.
What I saw, thank you. What I saw today. Now, you know, people are like, oh, I don't like comparisons with other games, this and that. But I'm sorry, it's very difficult to not compare it to two games that I'm thinking about. The first one I thought about the minute I saw the trailer was Far Cry.
Thank you, sir.
Right? Immediately Far Cry. And then what did they have? They even said the words outposts and bases.
Yes.
Yep. What is Far Cry filled with? Outposts
I am currently 50 plus hours into it, and I can't stop playing it.
Isn't it remarkable? And
it
it's
is
a great game.
Incredible.
Yeah. Now, put that in with Halo. My God, I'm sold immediately. And I said, you know what? Compare it to any game you want. You compare it to Far Cry, I'm totally sold. Now, what I did see, though, beyond that, like, for example, the pilot, Didn't he fly over and he would like drop a vehicle?
Yeah, they drop vehicles and weapons. Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
And so all I can think about was, again, like that whole Far Cry mechanic of being able to call a vehicle or something like that, or you get that guy Juan come in, he goes, "Hey, guerrilla!" Then he drops you, he drops you a new car. You know what I'm saying? Or he gives you like a new weapon. He's like, "Check this out," and this and that. So the pilot's the same idea.
Yes.
Right. So that you could call them at any time. Maybe you could pull up a weapon wheel of sorts, right? Just like you did in Far Cry.
And what's the second game you thought of? Because I think I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Well,
sir.
I don't know. I mean, what I'm thinking is this. The second game I'm thinking about is not from what they show. Is for me, I saw potential. And the potential that I saw is for raids. They're going to open up this part of the map. There's going to be a raid over here, folks. There's going to be
How long have I been saying they need to add raids to this thing?
And they're going to. Now, here's the thing.
Destiny-like, yep.
First-person shooter, open world with raids and outposts and bases. Sounds a lot like Destiny, doesn't it? But I think it'll be, I mean, I know people love Destiny and everything else, but, I tried to get into it. It's just too damn confusing. But anyways, that's what I saw as the potential for the future. I don't think they're going to launch that right away. Let's say season 2, season 3. Let them get their feet wet. Let them plant the, get the foundation going, get the crowd going, get, the player base in there and everything else. And of course, launch the free-to-play multiplayer and then get into that, right? And then they're going to start doing that by summer or maybe late summer, maybe early fall of next year, start launching raids. And then you start putting big rewards in there, things that you could carry on into your campaign. The co-op campaign, which is going to be another one I'm thinking of is Borderlands, okay? Where you got gear. You've got weapons. You got things that, let's say you do, let's say the PTG crew does a raid, okay? And we get all these cool weapons. Well, then the next time we go play co-op with somebody else, we got those weapons that we got from that raid, just like Destiny. Yes. And on and on and on. And also just like Borderlands, maybe there'll be a little bit of a looter shooter mechanic in there that we don't know about. Maybe not as deep as like Borderlands, but something. So that's what I saw there. Now, Asante said something just when I clicked on here. He was talking about he'd like to see how it's going to perform on the lowest performing machines. I'm going to push back and say there won't be any lower performance machines. You know why? Because, we all know there's no coincidence that the cloud gaming is launching in December.
Yep.
The same time that Halo's launching.
So are you saying that if I have an Xbox VCR, we'll say, they'll say, here's a link to playing it through cloud gaming rather than a disc that you can buy?
That you will be playing the Xbox Series X version online.
That is an interesting thought. That they haven't said that out loud just yet.
Not yet,
but that is an interesting place.
Now, I think that you're going to be getting the Series X, Series S version being played on your Xbox Ones, your Xbox One S's, whatever the hell you got from the last generation. You will be playing those. Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, I don't know, but I'm leaning towards that. Come on, guys. The timing is right there. They said that the cloud gaming that they're going to be running off the Series X server blades launches in December. Halo launches in December. Come on. You don't got to be Kojak to figure this out. Like, it's right there. So now the other thing I was going to say quick. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. I was going to say, you know where I thought you were going to go? Because like there was, and some people have already caught on to that, and they've said that to me. And I thought Mag is probably going to see that as well. I thought that you were going to say Battlefield, because there's a part in there where where one of the brutes making his big speech goes, "We'll see you on the battlefield." And as soon as he says that, the next shot is Master Chief jumping out of one of his own helicopter, his own plane, grappling to another plane and pulling him out and continuing on. They literally mimicked a Battlefield moment.
It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. He jumps out of his plane, uses a rocket launcher. He's falling down onto it, and two Banshees are flying upwards. He hits one of those with the rocket launcher, falls through the fire, aims back up, catches the other Banshee with the grapple hook, and then goes and takes it over and does a backflip before he flies off.
Jeez, did he do a 360 no scope while he was
literally,
at it? My God.
They're literally speaking the whole, hey, Battlefield, take a look. They mimicked the exact Battlefield moment on that shot.
So, it's funny because one of the things that we heard a lot of was up until the flighting, and now, of course, we have the single player campaign overview to go 1-to-1 with the flighting. We kept hearing Boy, oh boy, I don't know about Halo launching in the same window, same season as Call of Duty and Battlefield. And again, we talked about it coming out of the betas, right? The 3 betas. No doubt about it that Call of Duty looked like Xbox 360 graphics. It was just awful. Battlefield looked, there was a lot of problems with that. I got a feeling that even though EA doesn't want to admit it, they have a monster problem. They should just they besides gameplay, besides graphics, but besides them launching what seems to be a broken product, they're going up against free to play in Halo Infinite, which is 10 points lower on the scale for them. I think they should delay it. Call of Duty is not going to delay no matter what. It could look like Vectrex graphics from the 82, and they're going to figure out a way to launch it, and it's going to be just complete garbage.
The problem Call of Duty has is it's catered to such a casual market now that none of them really ingrained in gaming like we are. So that game can launch in whatever state it is, and none of those people are any the wiser because half of them haven't even.
They'll just buy it, and they know it.
Yep.
That's very true. But listen, obviously we are at the almost near the 1 hour mark, and we just talked about graphics. I got to get into gameplay. I got to get into what I'm gonna, because it was only a 2 hour show. I mean, I'd love it to be an 8 hour show, but what I want to do is in the next conversation that we're going to have, I do want to talk about the gameplay, but I want to talk about reception from the gaming media, because apparently the gaming media seems to really like this. I mean, I've seen reaction videos from Kind of Funny. I've seen some reaction videos from a few other sites, and I did not see almost hardly any negative commentary. I think everyone did walk away. But before we get into that conversation, I do have to catch up on some of the super chats. Thanks to Kay Asante keeping it 100 here, because otherwise I'd lose track of them. Nightcrawlers Podcast drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says, I wanted multiplayer. Now I can't wait for campaign. That's a fantastic sentiment, brother. I believe a lot of people are in the same camp as you. Nightwolf 3186, good friend, generous friend of the show. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, props to 343 for getting me hyped. That open world looked amazing, and I can't wait to dive in at 12:01 a.m. December 8th. Have a great show, Boom. Well, thank you, brother. We also have Keo Walker, friend of the show. He drops a $5 super chat and says, Halo today has drowned it out all other gaming news. I think all gaming news for the rest of the week, if you want my honest opinion, because how do you and that just, again, I'm not going to try and get into the PlayStation stuff, but that's kind of petty, bro. For PlayStation to be like, hey, Horizon Zero Dawn is still coming out. Honestly, guys, Jimmy, no one cares. No one gives a flying shit. Sorry. It's all about Halo, and you guys should be better, because Xbox has never done that. So that was a little disappointing when I saw that tweet. I'm like, wow.
It's also a game that's coming next year. Like,
it's coming next year. It was very grade school, in my opinion. But that's here nor there. Kirby Zero Louise drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, well, if they want a shot at Halo winning Game of the Year, they'd better bend the rules for a 2021 entry, because otherwise that means going up against Kirby and the Forgotten Lands and losing, of course. I love it. That's great. I love it. Stitch 6669 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I appreciate that video was narrated by Cortana and by someone in the studio. Yeah, I absolutely think it was well done. It really was. Again, it was an overview with some narration that I thought was brilliant. We also have let me see. Oh, yes. Cyber, we're going to get you in here right now, brother. Hold on just 1 second. There is Cyber. He's here brought to the party. Drawn TJ drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I'm so hyped for Halo. They nailed the story. Indeed, they did. Look, let's get into it. We're going to go right first to Oso Vinny. Listen, we've talked graphics. Gameplay came up in the conversation. But I want to get your opinion on it. Obviously, there are two things I want you to touch on. The gameplay looked incredibly fun. It's bringing us to a Halo that we've never had before. Halo is known for its claustrophobic, corridoric, firefights. Get into room A, fight brute B, move to the next one, fight a bunch of grunts, potentially jump into a tank, blow up a few things, and go. They really turned the gameplay on its ear. I think this is for me personally, this is the Halo I've always wanted. But you know what? There was some hubbub, if you will, about not enough story beats for some people. Of course, listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. We don't mention any names here. But I said I walked away saying to myself, well, how much of the story do you want? Because if we're comparing apples to oranges, how much story did you guys get of God of War or Horizon Zero Dawn that was shown? You obviously Atreus is older. Oh, okay, we know that the lady that you killed her son is attacking Kratos. You knew that was going to happen. Okay, that's just a part of the story from the first one. What else did we get? No, what we got is cinematic gameplay. They got everyone excited to play those games in 2022 and 2023, respectively. I don't understand what people what they wanted. I thought they delivered on every aspect. For you, where do you fall with gameplay and story in this 6-minute, 20-second trailer?
Yeah, so as far as the gameplay goes, someone I followed, I wish I could remember his name, put it best. It's kind of like the Halo Wars FPS that everybody wanted, with the crazy fights and the crazy battles, the fusion coils throwing around and the big enemies and whatnot. And I think they just really nailed like the fun aspect of it, because that's what the original Halo was built upon, right? The first 30 seconds has to be fun, and then you repeat that, so on and so forth for the rest of the game. And I think we won't have a problem as far as having fun or finding new things to do. And as far as story goes, I think they showed in the trailer with the boss battles and the little cinematic cutscenes and the little corridors. So that's kind of showing us that there still are linear segments in the game, with like the sparring killer and the brute that charges you in the red armor. So I don't really see why there is concern about that. It's kind of just like a mixture of open world Halo as well as linear Halo, and we'll just have to wait till release date to kind of see how they execute that.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. I think what you saw is what we're going to get. But for you personally, Vinny, did they tell enough of the story? Did you walk away understanding that where we're currently at may not be? Because that's one of the running themes that I thought that I got from this is not going to be where we start. We have to learn of, let's say, for instance, what happened to Locke. Maybe we open up the game as Locke and we see his untimely demise if he in fact has been killed, because we know that. Well, I'm just saying. Somebody's wearing his helmet as a shoulder pad.
If Locke dies, we riot. That's all I'm saying.
If Locke dies off screen, if Locke dies off screen, we riot. Because if he's gonna die, we need to see him die off screen. That's some bullshit.
Well, no, they wouldn't do it off screen. Maybe he sacrifices himself to save Chief. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because we know we know from just the trailer. And I looked it over, and of course we had many panel members of the special show that we did this afternoon at 12:30. If you missed that, head over to Dobow Gaming. We raw and uncut opinions of what happened. It appears that the Infinity has been destroyed because there was DOA tags all over the place. So obviously, like I said, I walked away enough with the story enough to say, well, yeah, the Marines got their teeth kicked in, including Chief, because he was found floating out in space. So something bad happened. We're going to get all of that. Where do you fall on not enough story?
For me personally, and Joseph Staten kind of explained that with the 10-year plan and whatnot, this Halo is meant to kind of tie those loose ends with the rest of the trilogy, 343 trilogy. And, this isn't going to be, as soon as we finish the campaign in December, that's not going to be all of it. You know, they're going to continue to release episodic campaign updates and whatnot. And so as time goes on, we'll continue to get more and more of the story. But for right now, I think what they're trying to do is set the tone for the player and kind of let them know where they're at in the story and where it's going to go. And so I think they told us enough that, in the trailer that we needed to know, honestly.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Real quick, guys, shout out Hustle and Motivate has become a channel member. My brother, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I truly and greatly appreciate that. Bango Mango, let's get your opinion on gameplay. And was there enough story told to you as a Halo fan in the 6-minute and 20-second trailer?
Dude, absolutely. When it comes down to those two topics, I think they hit it on the nail. I think the only thing that comes up, honestly, with the hubbub is if you guys watch the trailer, there's a specific part that I think just encapsulate any negativity 100%. There's a part where a brute jumps off from the Covenant dropship. And he's just like, I'm ready to battle, you know? Jumps up right next to Master Chief, and he's like, prepare to die. Then Master Chief, that's where it shows the application process with that gameplay. And then you put on the thruster, you sidestep him, and you gravity hammer him, you know? And the brute's dead. I think that's what most people on the Twitter spaces be acting like, you know? They be coming off like the brute. And so I did a little PSA on the Twitter, and I was like, guys, don't be the brute in the trailer. Be the Chief.
That is the funniest thing I have heard this year, brother. That is great.
Don't be Craig.
Don't be Craig.
Apparently now, Everborn, it's Chad. People are calling him Chad now because he got the mohawk thing going on.
The mohawk and the goatee. He's a Chad. I see it.
Chad,
I see it now.
The new Craig.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you something right now. I'll never get the credit for this. My real name is Craig, and I do have a mohawk. So the fact that I'm not getting any credit from 343 for this is disgraceful. 343, if you're listening, I will be my agent and potentially lawyers will be contacting you very shortly. But yeah, no, that good stuff. And I agree with you, dude. I mean, look, I understand that on social media there is an expectation to have to hate the other guy. And I know people, you know, chalk it up to sports. Like, I'm a Steeler fan. So, you know, you say that to somebody and people from Baltimore be like, I want to burn his house down. You know, and I get it. I absolutely get it. I mean, I wouldn't personally burn anyone's houses down for them like in Baltimore. But, I mean, listen, these things happen. But I got to be honest. I talked about disappointment, and I'm just throwing this out there. If you are a gamer, I don't care if you have 40 plus years in gaming like myself, or you have 4 years or 4 days. I think that if you are a gamer and you're not cheering for 343 to win one for Microsoft, you got to ask yourself a question. What kind of gamer are you? Because as far as I know, from me personally, and I can't speak for the world, I can speak for Boom. As messed up as we've seen Xbox do things and PlayStation do things, and just recently the egregious, you know, $175,000 a year to play N64 games on the Switch is going to cost everybody. I have never gone out of my way to say, you know, hate on such and such because of this. You ask them to be better. And after today's trailer, I just don't understand how you can't cheer for 343 that has the world against them. Like, you know, I am sure that there are people cracking bubbly right now, hearing whether it's this podcast or 100 million others for the excitement that they delivered. But I don't want to go down this deep rabbit hole. Bango Mango, anything else you'd like to add, brother?
No, absolutely. In Hawaii, Boom, we call those kind of people baboozes. So please don't be a baboose.
Don't be a baboose. I love it. I love it. I love it. Say, folks, you learn things on this podcast, and obviously our friends from Hawaii have taught us well. Kay Asante. Yes, well, dude. Obviously, listen. Again, it's a pleasure to work with you today, brother, and we love the opinions. Dutch, I'll get to you in a second. Kay Asante, we got to get to you, brother. Gameplay and story beats. Again, for me personally, we all know what I said. I said it on Iron Lords. I said it on the 1230 show, and I'll say it again now. This was more than I needed. I wanted it to deliver, and they delivered 100-fold. Where do you fall on the gameplay and the story that was delivered in this trailer for today? This overview.
So as far as story is concerned, I don't have a concern there because 343 has proven they can make a good story. Look at Halo 4. I thought Halo 4 was a great story.
Yes, it was. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so I expect them to hit on those cylinders as well. As far as gameplay is concerned, like, we didn't have a problem with gameplay the last time they showed it, right? Yep. Even when at the time when the colors were a little off and everything was a little flat, it was still fun looking then. And then of course we played all the various fighting, and it was just, as you can see on the screen, it was just panda freaking monium, You're using the grapple shot to Spider-Man across the entire levels and things like,
which we saw you do, multiple times. By the way,
that became my mission. I wanted to stay in the air as much as I could. Screw this game. What are we playing? I'm just Spider-Man, and that's what I want to do. No, but honestly, I don't think that we're out of the woods yet, right? Because you gotta keep it honest, keep the feet to the fire.
Yes.
We'll see what it looks like when the game comes out. But everything we've seen so far, I'm very impressed with. I'm very optimistic about, because most games that have this sort of quote unquote drama, and it's delayed, and you hear these dribs and drabs of these stories about potential management and this and that. You hear these things, right? And they usually come out and suffer for it. And by and large, everything we're seeing now counteracts that narrative completely, right? Yes. Even with all that drama, even with, the management and this and that, this showed incredibly well. And every time it's come out, with the exception of the first time, and even when it came out the first time, it showed well too. It played well, it just didn't show well. Now the showing and the playing are very much in line, and I'm here for it. So, there should be no concern out there in the genuine public, and I emphasize genuine, very highly.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously,
we realize some are not being genuine. Clearly, some are not being genuine. We can sit there, see this game, applaud it or give it the smoke it deserves, and see other games and do the same, whether it's on this platform or not. Right. So some are not being genuine. The genuine folks who go, hey, I've never been a real big Halo person, but maybe I want to try. That's where I see those apt comparisons to your Far Cries and your Just Causes. You can definitely tell that they saw that fun physics-based gameplay, sandbox, let you approach it any way you want. Clearly that's shining through here, and that's different from most Halos. So I'm very much excited to see where this all goes, and I'm pretty confident. If this thing comes out and by all accounts it looks good and it's like a 7 out of 10, I'll be very surprised. I'll be very, very surprised.
Yeah, I listen again. We unfortunately, that's something that we're not going to do. I mean, we will be talking. We'll be obviously giving our own critique once the game is in our hands. Once we're playing it, we'll be doing a live podcast review about that. I mean, listen, what's different? What's different about this game is, I mean, besides the fact that it's Halo, is that we are getting what appears to be two fronts that they're covering. We're getting an incredible multiplayer, and I think we can walk away saying that because you see what we're playing, and this is just a flighting. It's not actually even a beta, and it looked and played fantastic. So once the final version releases in December, we're all going to be just up to our gills playing Halo. But I think there were a lot of doubts, Kay Asante, regarding they haven't showed like very, very similar to what everyone said. Well, they haven't showed the single player. Maybe they were hiding it. And now we saw that on display, and it looks like they're going to deliver on both ends. And here's the thing. Here's an important point. depending on who you ask. Right now, this mileage is gonna vary. For me, Halo 4, the multiplayer, not so much. Very Call of Duty-esque, not my thing. It didn't feel enough like Halo for me. Single player, unbelievable. Graphically, it was the best graphics on the Xbox 360. I mean, probably still is to this day.
It's the best graphics on Xbox Series. If you play that today, it is still wow. Like absolutely.
It's still a looker. Now you go to Halo 5. I'm not going to get into it. Not my thing. The story was just only because they sold me something different, with the podcast and the Locke versus Chief and Chief versus Locke, and one gets his mask broken, the other one gets, is standing over him with the gun. They sold us a different game, right? So that's why I walked away, because I expected got something different. But graphically, it was great. It was a game, gameplay. It played as well as any Halo I've played, right? And the multiplayer was fantastic. Folks, whether you realize this or not, and whether you're in the same camp as me, again, this is subjective, and we're going based on what we've seen. It appears that we are getting a complete package, and that hasn't happened since Halo 3 in 2007, September 25th. And that's saying something. And what a way to kick off next gen than with the mother of all shooters in Halo. Wandering Dutch, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Gameplay. It seemed to be the highlight of everyone that was talking about this game. And what are your feelings on that?
The gameplay we've all played the multiplayer now, and I think as soon as we'd had a chance to play that multiplayer test flight, we knew they'd nailed the gameplay. It felt great. The weapons sounded amazing. They felt amazing. They had a bit of a kick to it that they didn't have in previous Halos, that they kind of give it a little bit more oomph, a little bit more feeling behind them.
Felt really good.
Yeah, God, yeah. They looked good, they felt good, they sounded good. They nailed that all the way through. Obviously, a few of them multiplayer-wise, single player, it's not going to matter so much, but multiplayer-wise, a few kind of balancing things for certain weapons. But that's kind of part and parcel of a multiplayer game anyway. You kind of get to know what needs balanced and what needs nerfed and what needs buffed all the way throughout. Yeah. And obviously, people kind of prefer different things, but single player, you're not going to have them same kind of issues, especially get little grunts and things like that. Like, there's going to be times where you don't care. If a weapon's weak anyway, you're still going to be able to assassinate a grunt from like 400 yards. Like that. But it just looks so fun. Like, the open world element doesn't look forced. It looks like what Halo was meant to be. The exploration, the wonder of being on obviously a Halo ring, kind of exploring everywhere, taking out outposts, reclaiming sections, getting the drops in, rescuing scattered Marines, which obviously you've seen in the trailer there before he yeeted off a cliff with them to their deaths. But no, ultimately the gameplay was absolutely on point. For me, it was never going to be a concern as soon as I played that multiplayer. Like, I tried to play Master Chief Collection after like online and everything.
Very difficult to go back to, bro.
It is impossible.
Very difficult.
Impossible.
Can't do it.
I tried, and I was just like, what is this? Like, what is this? Like,
See, that's a very important point, Dutch, because I've heard a lot of people say that all they have to do is make it play like Halo 3. No, you cannot go back to that.
Nope.
You want that feeling, but giving us that feeling in 2021, you have to do very different things to make us feel the same impulses and urges and excitement that we felt playing Halo 3 or Halo Combat Evolved. And the fact that they were successfully able to do that, making it feel true to Halo while still giving us that sense of excitement and wonder, is a damn near impossible task, because everyone was doubting that they could this entire time, and they pulled it off. The sons of bitches did it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's
sorry.
Yeah, it was. No, it's all right. Point was that I tried my utmost. I was like, you know what it is? I'm downloading Master Chief Collection. I'm going to go online. I'm going to get into the online again. And no, No, played a few matches and I was like, no, this just doesn't feel anywhere near as good as Infinite. Like, I can't do this. It's not even close. It doesn't have the same fun factor. It doesn't play as well. It's not as smooth. The guns feel rubbish in comparison. The sound's completely off. They honestly just knocked it out the park. Like, I had to put it down. I play the campaign, no problem. I'm going to run through the campaigns again before Infinite launches anyway, just to brush up on kind of everything again. But it's the gameplay is just on point. I can't wait. The grappling hook looks like it's a permanent addition now in campaign, which is perfect. It's not just an attachment that you kind of can choose to put on. It feels like it's a permanent attachment that you can upgrade over time.
Did you notice, Dutch, that at some point that grappling shot, you could there were upgrades to it, and it was electrocuting people. I hope they bring that into multiplayer.
Yeah, I really hope they bring that. What I suspect is when you grapple to people, because this happened to me in multiplayer, like they can still shoot you or hit you,
it happened.
But if you shock them, they won't be able to do that, and you have enough time to get to them and
give them a good elbow.
Give them the people's elbow.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Like I said,
everybody loves the people's elbow. That's right.
Grapple to melee is the new jump kick sweep. I'm just telling you.
Indeed. Yep. Indeed it is.
But honestly, and I think everyone's pretty much
if I could add
the point here. Go on, go for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think just to add on to people's points, just like what Keasante said earlier, something that people are sleeping on is the sandbox. The gameplay is only going to be as good as the sandbox that they place it in. And Halo, I think how you modernize that, and especially with open world, is a sandbox. And Halo has been known for excellent sandboxes across the board. And so them hitting that in comparison with the gameplay, and then like Everborn was saying, when you tie all these things together, like electricity to a grapple shot and then flying up into the air and grabbing a power cable and then blowing up the base with it, that's what makes it special. That adds to the gameplay 100%.
And that is also why the Far Cry comparison is a good thing in this case.
Yes.
Because you're not playing as a Far Cry character, you're playing as the chief in the sandbox that they have set up. So the idea 100%. That you can do anything and all the powers that Chief has and the AI of all these enemies, it will make it feel fundamentally different.
Yes.
Right? The problem with Far Cry that people have, I see, is that it feels too samey. But Far Cry doesn't play like Halo. So this is adding elements. And I saw that there was some concern about map cleaning and people not wanting to do that. I think that they're going to smartly bring it up, and it won't be so much as a Ubisoft formula. It'll be more of a Zelda formula where you know where all the castles are and you can do them in order, but maybe you need to upgrade yourself a little bit before you go take on this enemy or that enemy or try to take this base or that base. And if they do it in that way, they can tell you where it is, but you just may not be ready to go there, or it may be locked off until you get something.
You know what's also a massive improvement though that we'll obviously I've never done it myself, and I do not have the skills to be able to do that. But I've got a friend that's beat all the Halos on solo, on Legendary all by himself. No problem. He'll happily go through and do that. I don't have the patience to do that. Put it frank.
I did that for Halo 1 through 3. The other ones, I think I stuck to normal or heroic.
Yeah, and he's done that, and he just tried against the Spartan bots online, and he was like, they were a pain in the arse. I was like, yep. And I was like, if you think that AI is now transferred into the normal gameplay as well for the campaign, if you've got Spartan level difficulty bots or enemies throughout the campaign in the sandbox, you're not going to do that campaign as straightforward as you thought you did last time. Those snipers, those jackal snipers you thought were a pain in the arse last time on Legendary. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy, are they going to be a pain in the arse this time. It is honestly, like you mentioned, the sandbox coupled with that new AI system is going to be a game changer. I think the AI is vastly improved over the previous, far more intelligent. Regardless of kind of what difficulty you're at. Of course, the Marines and the ODSTs and think the difficulty is a little bit different. But when you again, you go up the ranks and you get the spot, and that AI just gains a level of intelligence that I think on an open world scale is going to kind of bring in a whole new kind of difference to how people approach different scenarios, how they attack different bases, how they go about different missions, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how people go on. Yeah, go on for it.
Can I add something? Yeah, so just about the bots. I feel like this kind of gets overlooked by a lot of people, but the AI bots for multiplayer kind of adds accessibility for those with like disabilities who maybe can't really play in
100%.
online matches and
100%.
against all the sweat boxes that we usually go up against, right? And so, and they have different difficulty settings from recruit to Spartan. And I think that's a really awesome thing that 343 did, because that's been something a lot of Halo fans have been wanting, was offline bots in Halo. And kudos to them for just making that consideration for us.
Very true. Yep. 100%.
No, I you know what? That's again. We could literally do a 4-hour cast, because that's actually something that no one has really talked about. And the fact is that they are obviously Microsoft, and specifically Xbox. They're not an exclusive brand. They are inclusive. They want everyone to enjoy gaming. That is why this game is going to be available on console, cloud, and PC day one, right? And there's going to be a multitude of ways you can play through the game. There's going to be a multitude of levels of difficulty. If you want to play, like for instance, if you all you want to play is bots because that's all you feel you have the skill level, you can do that. And I believe you'll have just as much fun as you would be playing against ranked players. I love what they're doing. And again, we'll be getting into more of that as we get closer. Once we get the game in our hand, we'll get, and once the final product is out with all the updates, we will get exactly what they've done. Everborn Saga. Let's get your, you touched on it momentarily during your first go around. Gameplay seemed to be something called #fun, and jumping out of one of the ships to then shoot another one and then fall past the fire, then to grappling hook into the third one and kick the guy out and then do a backflip for good measure just seemed to be something that we're going to see a lot of. I mean, we saw a lot of incredible videos of in the flighting. Wait till we see people and what they're going to do with that grappling hook and the rest of where do you fall on your excitement for the gameplay that was on display?
It's through the roof, man. This is no secret. Zelda might be my favorite gaming franchise of all time, but Halo is my second favorite. And this just gave me the multiplayer just gave me all of those LAN party college days, but this gave me the feeling of all those Halo campaigns that I've known and loved, and it feels like it's going to be even crazier. And they have really taken this thing to another level. So much so that people being happy about it is now a problem. But I've sent you guys some things in the DM. So now the new talking point is that all we care about is the gameplay being fun, as though that's a bad thing. I'm not even joking. I will say it's in, check the DMs. So I cannot stress enough how much of an amazing feat this is, and how everyone's sort of coming together now. The other thing is that I wonder is, I know we say Far Cry and things like that, but do we know if you will be able to go everywhere right away? Or will these things be unlocked as you?
I would imagine they're gonna.
Points.
Yeah, I mean, if I could jump in real quick, it's kind of like a crapshoot. Like I could say something today and it'd be totally wrong tomorrow, or I could be right on the head. I think where we're seeing the game is potentially 2 or 3 hours ahead of where we're going to be when we start this. I think it's going to pick up almost directly after 5, and we have to be as fans, as a story beat. We're all going to have to be made privy as to how this fall happened. Where did the banish come from? How much damage did they do? Did they in fact take down the Infinity? Did they kill all of these? Because if you look at the trailer, you see there's a part where he's looking at a computer and all of these DOA tags come up, and I was like, whoa, like what are those? Are those Marines? Are they ODST? Are they straight up Spartans that are gone? Right? Like where is Team Osiris? Right? Where is Locke? His helmet's sitting on someone's shoulder pad, but we don't know where Locke is.
I'm going to tell you what I think. I think we're going to think that Chief is the only Spartan left, but by the time we end this up, we found out that Locke has been doing his own thing on the side to try to and to try to help out whatever effort Chief has, and we will see him by the end of the game.
Yes.
So we will, whether it's even if it's like an after credit scene, but I think you will see him as a part of the campaign, and you will see that he and a group of Spartans, maybe all of Team Osiris or some of them, will be around. And the other thing is, I think I wonder how do you guys feel about the targets? Are those bosses, or are those like the Valkyrie from God of War?
I think they're mini bosses, brother.
They seem like mid bosses.
Like
they seem like mid bosses. Yeah. Specifically the ones with like actual names on them. Health bars and names on them. They seem like mid bosses, because even in the small trailer we saw, he dispatched them rather quickly. You saw the health bar go quick, so it's not like one that will take you a while, but it seems more like one that's elevated beyond the low grade brute status or the low grade, all the throwaway enemies. This one might give you a challenge if you don't watch your back, kind of thing. They seem like mid bosses.
Yeah,
we'll have to pay more attention.
And one thing, Philly Eagle pointed this out in the chat. Like, I know we're using sort of open world loosely, but it's not an open world; it's a hub world.
Yep.
Yeah. More like Destiny style. However, he was just saying, open world and sandbox are two different things, and so we should just point that out. And I think that's a very important distinction when we're talking about what we're going to get here.
I think he's on to something, but I think that, just coming out and speaking about it, it's really it's apples and apples, in my opinion. I understand that what he's saying makes a lot of sense. Sandbox versus open world. I honestly think that could be an argument to say, well, what makes one and one and not the other? I mean, open world it still has an end wall you can't pass. The Witcher is open world, right? But that's still, there's a limitation as where you can go. I think Halo is going to be like that. But again, I think what they did today is they're selling the 10-year plan. This is going to be an ever-growing, expanding universe with different story beats. I still think that the leak that we got from about 18 months ago on Reddit, where they're going to have individual story beats that you can play. Like they talked about an Atriox where you actually use him. I think that's a reality. I think we're going to see that. I don't think we're going to see that initially. I think what we're going to see is we're getting what we're getting. And then behind the scenes, they're going to quietly and politely work on getting co-op. Once co-op is done, Forge is done. I think once Forge is out and working, then we'll start seeing all of this raid stuff and potentially other story beats.
Speaking of co-op and raid, I would think that maybe the raids are a part of co-op, and co-op could be something bigger than we think. So it's not simply just, hey, play the campaign over again, but there's new things that you can do together, because that's very different from PvP and even PvP, which is what we did against the bots. Yes. I'm wondering if that's what the co-op is going to be about.
I mean, it's an interesting theory for sure. I mean, again, we're just assuming that they just ran out of time, and it's funny because I don't have to bring this up. The world is still in a pandemic, folks. Year 2, and it sucks. The world sucks, and it's hard to make games. It was already hard to make games, but now you got to make games from your couch where your kids are playing and your dog's licking your controller while you're trying to finish a game. But we forgot all of that, right? I'm just saying that is something because only
we only forgot it as it relates to Microsoft Studios.
That is absolutely
we definitely remembered it for some other studios who we're not going to name tonight, but you know who you are.
The nameless as they're called. But you know what? Great stuff as always, Mag. Let's get your opinion on this.
Yeah, man.
I mean, listen, you heard everyone, but I'm always thrilled to get your personal opinion as someone who nearly got kicked off of my friend list because you're just gamer scores. Just you can't stop. I'm in with Kay Asante. We got to get this guy out of here because he's making us look bad. You are always into gameplay. Obviously, you love achievements, you love trophies, but gameplay for any real gamer is always going to be key. What did you think of what you saw, bro?
Okay, well, what I saw was it was a reflection of what we played in the multiplayer. You know what I'm saying? Like fast, snappy, quick response. It was the kind of thing that I'm really. That's what I wanted. I wanted the feel of Call of Duty, but not Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Like I want, like you know, say what you want about Call of Duty. Okay, everybody's like, you know, this and that, whatever. But the thing is, you move quick. It's quick response. Excellent gunplay. Fast switching of weapons, that kind of thing, right? Sliding on the ground, doing whatever you got to do. It feels good. Doesn't mean it is good, but Halo, on the other hand, starting to feel like that now. It's got that whole feel, like just like what Dutch was talking about 10 minutes ago when he's saying, like, he tried to go back. I did the same thing because I played the flight and I said, you know what? I kind of got the Halo itch right now. Let me go back and, like, you know, fart around for a little bit on the Master Chief Collection. Not a good transition. Can't do it because now they've moved it into 2021, and so therefore you can't go back. There's
Stick
no
to the
way
campaigns.
you can go back.
If you're playing Halo MCC, it's fun. I still play it. Stick to the campaigns. Don't go multiplayer.
Yeah. But even the campaigns though, I'm still a little bit, you know, a little bit. It's just not the same.
It's a historical landmark. It is what it is. You know,
it is what it is. But you know, it's like. So is Pac-Man, but I'm not playing that every day. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's funny. I was going to say that. I was like, you know, I remember playing Pac-Man on the 2600, folks. Here's a quick tidbit. And back in the days, it was just one color, right?
That's right.
No, it wasn't actually. If you if you shut all the lights off and you tune the color, the ghosts had color.
Because I thought that they basically looked all green to me back then.
They were like kind of like a greenish thing, but if you mess with the color, my parents, I got beat for this because, you know, Dad wants to watch the Yankee game and one of the catchers looked orange, but I used to mess with the colors and shut the lights. Yeah, so as fun as that was, I don't want to go back to 1978 and mess with any colors because I was tired of getting beat. So yeah, I'm with everyone. It's very hard, and I agree with you to go back again. I think we're a bit spoiled, but we had three flightings.
We had three flightings, Boom. But you know the thing is, I don't think I don't like. Look, like I said, what I saw, I don't think that they want you. I think they're going to have those other games like a legacy. They're going to be legacy titles forever. And they'll always be back there as something like, you know, Microsoft is big on especially Xbox and Phil Spencer, of course. They're very big on game preservation. Okay, I know that Phil's talked about that many times. He likes the idea of game preservation. So I think that those old games will stay the way they are, and that's fine. Just like a Sunday, you can go back and visit them anytime you want, if you really want. But the thing is, you got to move forward, and they have moved forward, which I'm so grateful for because that's one thing that pissed me off about Halo. You didn't know what the button scheme was game to game. Halo 3 was different from Halo 4. Halo 4 was different from Halo 5. Like, screw off already. Say buttons. Like, what is the problem here, right? So I think they finally.
That's one thing, Mag. Yeah. One thing, and that is one piece of the puzzle. As a guy who frequently goes back to Halo MCC, I actually think I'm hoping they do that. Standardize the button layout. I know you can go in there now and go, I'll play this whole thing as Halo 3. I'll play this whole thing as, you know, whatever.
Once again,
the new button scheme that they've added, they should add that into Halo MCC and make that the standard.
That's
just the button layout.
It's in there. It's in there.
Again, I'm calling Call of Duty.
The new button layout, really?
Yeah, it's the zoom and shoot one. Or zoom.
Yeah. So zoom and shoot is basically what they're using now for the new one. Okay.
Yeah. I had to change that really quick.
Yeah, that might help. That might help.
Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is the gold standard for like first-person shooters, right? I mean, just the way like it's automatic, right? It's muscle memory. You just press right bumper, you throw a grenade. You do this, you do that. You press B, you kneel down or you slide or whatever, right? You know what
that was doing. That was definitely a missed opportunity by Bungie, because they were first and they did not lay the groundwork for every other first-person shooter to follow. Their buttons were crazy all over the place.
They were crazy all over the place. It was ridiculous.
Took COD to do it. Yeah, you're right.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, like, I still think Call of Duty is the gold standard for first-person shooter button layouts. But anyways, that's besides the point. Now, you asked me a question about the gameplay. I gave you my answer there. Now, in terms of what you guys were kind of touching on about the story, I just want to get into this real quick, and then I'll pass it off. But here's the thing: the story. I heard your show today, Boom, when I was taking a little bit of a break. I had myself some lunch, and I was listening to your live show this afternoon. And of course, I've been listening to everybody here tonight. I gotta say, I kind of got an idea. Now, hear me out, okay? This is what I think might happen. You know, and people were talking about Locke. They're talking about what happened to Chief. You can't start the game with Chief unconscious in outer space because everybody's going, well, what the hell happened?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what happened? Like, you can't just start like that. So what I think they're going to do is I think they are going to start with Chief unconscious in space. And I'll tell you what they're going to do. This is my thought. Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Do you remember those parts? Boom, I know you're more of an Assassin's Creed fan than some of the frauds in our panel here. But anyhow.
Hey, now, I have many days in those games.
Creed,
Stop it.
Or are you talking about this modern?
I have many days in those games.
I'm just playing around. Come on, I'm just playing around. Like, you guys play Valhalla. You know, like when they have like those little, what I like to call the warp breakaways, where you go to like Asgard.
Yep.
And then you're playing a whole new little mini map with a whole.
So you're talking about. So you're thinking about like they'll let you play, like, let's say, flashbacks of how he got to where he is.
Yeah, Correctamundo, my fine sir. And I see that happening. I see something going on with the Locke storyline in a smaller mini map. Okay, exactly like I said, like the Valhalla, or even AC Odyssey with remember you can go to Mount Olympus and then you weren't even you were like somebody else, and then same thing with Valhalla, you weren't I can't remember his bloody name now, but yeah, like you weren't you were one of the gods or whatever, right? And then Loki was there and everything else, blah blah blah. And so I think that they may do that, like I said, I like to call it like the sort of like that warp side world so to speak, and then it'll explain things, warp moments. I could give you that one. Maybe you're going to go back to Earth. I was thinking about it earlier. Weren't some of the multiplayer maps that we saw took place on Earth? What's going on Earth? Maybe that's going to happen. Maybe that's part of the backstory. What happened to Locke? And then on top of everything else, I think that the Halo ring is going to be the main world. And I think that any stories that they want to tell are going to be offshoots. And they're going to be like little miniature, maybe 3-4 hour jaunts on the side, just like I said, like AC Valhalla, like AC Odyssey, where they told those little side stories without interrupting the main story or interrupting the main storyline or that hub world, right? So you could go off there, you know, you do like a 2-hour tangent about Locke, you do like a 2-hour tangent of what the hell's going on Earth, and then when you get back to the main game, you're back to Chief, you're back on the Halo ring, and there you are. And so you're getting the story without convoluting the story by trying to shove it all into one map, into one world. You can compartmentalize everything and then make sense of it all. And then from there, pull yourself back, and then you could see the big picture. I think it's a goddamn masterpiece of an idea. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to blow smoke up my own ass. I'm just saying, I think that that's a great idea. And I think that's a great way to do it. And I really, really, really hope and believe that they might do something just like that.
That sounds like a great time, and I think what it does is it allows for the story to breathe. They can tell the story at their own pace if they want to add specific things to the story to widen. I mean, this is a 10-year game, right? We know that for an absolute fact. So we're probably. I mean, are we going to get a Halo Infinite 2? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if you have this as a 10-year plan, but I know they're going to keep supporting it, and I like what you're putting down there, because there is still. I mean, listen, one of the biggest complaints that, at least for me, that came out of Halo 5 was that we played 3 levels of Chief. and 8 levels of Locke. Now, not that Locke was a bad character. The problem is that they didn't story build Locke enough for me. He was thrown in there as the guy that cracked Chief's mask. Not freaking cool, man. And again, they sold us a different game from the stories with the podcast and the Locke standing over Chief standing over Locke. We didn't get that. So I think that's what the disappointment that came from me. I'm going to say this right now live on the air. I would love to find out what happens to Locke. I would love to play a story where his character, you play a 3 or 4 hour, side mission with Locke or Team Osiris, and you find out what happened to him. How did he lose his mask? Is he dead? # we riot if he dies off screen, right? I mean,
or if he dies at all, but
if he dies at all, we riot. There you go. What happened to Buck? Is Buck gone? Is he off on another ODST, 2 adventure?
Can I point something out that really was weird to me?
Sure. You
guys remember that Halo Nightfall series, but really a movie?
I dug that show. Yeah.
It bothered me that it had nothing to do with Halo Guardians. Right?
Yeah.
It was basically like Pitch Black. You remember that movie with Vin Diesel?
Of course.
That turned into Chronicles of Riddick and just got progressively terrible.
Progressively worse.
But the point is, maybe we would have cared, or people would have cared more for Locke if they used that. If they weren't going to give him his own game, how about use that to give him some story that at least relates to Guardians? It was weird. The rollout was weird.
Absolutely. But listen, let's get Cybernox's opinion on this. He's, obviously he was coming in from work late. Cybernox, first of all, brother, welcome to the program. Great to have you. You're going to close out the night for us because we are closing in on the 2-hour mark momentarily, and we got to get everybody out of here. And obviously, but we want to get your opinion. Seeing the trailer, seeing the gameplay, seeing the story that was told in the game in the 6 minute and 20 seconds. Give us your thoughts from a-hole to elbow, so to speak.
Well,
I think elbow.
Yeah. I think it was safe to say that the gameplay, anyone that played the technical beta, technical test, whatever you want to call it, everyone felt that the gameplay was there, right? We all, and then everything else turned into what's the story going to be like? And I think Mag said something extremely important. I think they're going to tell this whole story in various different ways. We're going to have Chief as the main story, breaking out sections potentially as flashbacks, or could it even be just a small taste of maybe what happened to Locke? Because like we said, this is a 10-year plan. So now we know that they're not afraid to try to take chances in expanding the Halo universe, right? They kind of tried to do that with Halo 5, with introducing Locke as a new protagonist, but I think that was a little bit too forced. Like, you're going up against Master Chief here. You pull Locke against Master Chief, like everyone's gonna side with Chief, or most people except Everborn. Let's say Everborn siding with Locke. But
well, no, hold on a minute. I need to clarify.
They go to slander.
No. Wait a minute. I actually was on Chief's side, and I was like, why are you putting me in a position where I have to forsake Locke because I'm rooting for Chief? I didn't want Locke to win. I didn't know why Locke was there. I felt playing with Locke like how I felt playing with the Arbiter in Halo 2. I came here for the Chief. Give me the Chief. The Locke should have had his own game, right? Even before you even mentioned him.
They did him like the DCEU. Right. That's what they did. They did
tried to skip to the end.
Build him up. Don't start.
Give him bring back Halo.
Give him a
Halo Reach type of game. And then you say this guy you loved in our spinoff game, now him and Chief are gonna bump heads, and that I would have enjoyed more. Or you could last thing, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
You could have just said, let me choose who I want to play with instead of the going back and forth. So give me a whole Chief campaign and then say, okay, now play this thing from his perspective. I think that would have worked a lot better instead of the going
that actually
back
would have been
and
really
forth.
cool, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So I think this whole 10-year plan that they actually have, I can see that they could potentially actually have a plan where they're expanding the Halo universe, giving different stories with different teams. You know, Locke could potentially tell a story of exactly what happens to him here. Maybe we just see that this brew only has Locke's helmet, but we don't hear. We kind of hear in talks or in a cutscene or in a conversations that something did happen to Locke, and potentially down the road, you know, we play that actual campaign, or kind of like Mag said, maybe we'll play a small flashback, but it'll be just a small taste, and then play the full campaign in a year or two. You know, something that keeps us going back to that Halo universe. You know what happened to Buck, kind of like what you mentioned, Boom. Like everyone now, they can literally get characters and just make and unify everything in here into this, you know, this Halo game. But I will say one thing that you guys did mention too, like I was paying attention. I watched this trailer about 6-7 times today, and that one scene that you guys were talking about, in which he jumps off a Banshee. Was that I thought it was a Banshee. It jumps off right like, literally like replicates exactly what was done in Battlefield, but he's looking down. But because the Halo ring is crashed at that spot, you can actually see space.
Yes.
So it's just like I thought that a little bit of a detail. I thought that was great. But it's at story wise, you can kind of see. I do like the introduction of these mini bosses, or let's say these mercenaries coming after you. You know, you can kind of see that this world, it's kind of mimicking exactly what's going on in the let's even say the Ubisoft blueprint. You know, you're probably going to have your outposts here and there. You're going to be able to kind of explore this semi-open world, let's say, and you're going to capture posts and you know, discover new areas and things like that. When it comes to the story though, I think personally, just from the little hints of what that new AI is saying, I think that's actually Cortana pretending to be that new AI. She probably took over her, because all she's doing, like on that trailer, she's just like, what did Cortana do? Like, why are you after her? She's just asking these really, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. She's just asking these.
I think because she's new.
Well, I think that is like a storytelling trick that you do for people who aren't caught up. You have a character that's new to this, so you can learn what's going on through them. Right. And so I think that's why they're doing that, to have her. You might still be right, but I suspect that's why they're doing it, to catch the people up who didn't play 5.
Because if you played 5, the very last end, she basically reached out to every other AI that was there to try and convince them to join her. So this AI must be new and didn't catch that message.
Yeah, her production was actually in the first teasers for Halo Infinite too, with the little silicone drop thing in and forming and then sending it to Chief.
Well, let's be clear, and I'm calling this now. We all agree that she's finished by the end of this, and Chief is going to end up back with Cortana when this is all said and done.
She might go to somebody else. Maybe she goes to Locke. I don't know.
There you go. I think Cortana's going to take her over, and then end up back with Chief. And Chief is going to have to keep her inside of him or something. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
I think they're just going to have to do. They're probably going to do a very comprehensive introduction, and you know, dictating exactly what's been happening in this whole Halo saga, just so everybody can kind of catch up and be in the same point. Like I said, I do like the enemies. That new Forerunner enemy that shows up at the end, I thought she was great.
That kicks Chief through a tree and into a boulder.
I thought she was very interesting. I was like, yes, you know. I will say though, I mentioned this to you guys on the DMs. It drove me crazy that when he asked for a wasp to come down, the wasp just kind of like just comes down from the ship and just like hits the floor. It doesn't hover, it doesn't do anything. It's just like
that is classic Halo. Come on now.
I know
exactly, it plops every time. That is they did that on purpose just to remind you this is Halo.
So come on. I thought they were doing a lot of fun things in this open world. At first, you know, you see this trailer, and I kind of mentioned this to you guys on the DMs too. I thought that the multiplayer reveal kind of like showcased a little bit better when it comes to in terms as to getting people a little bit more hyped. But then you stop and you think back and you look at what you're seeing a Halo quote unquote open world for the first time, where you're going to be able to be, exploring all these areas in whichever way you want to in this quote unquote sandbox world. It's going to be great, man. I was really impressed by it. I just hope that they stick the landing with the story, and if they do, we're definitely going to have a hit on our hands.
So a real quick thing that you were saying about the one that kicked Chief through the tree. That's a precursor, if I'm not mistaken, and the precursors were the ones that created the Forerunners, and then
yes,
the Forerunners
she said something about the Forerunners' lies stop here, which is pretty interesting.
So she's basically mom and dad got killed by the kids, and now they back. So
and didn't she say something about too? She's like, I'm the prophet of truth or something.
Yes,
she said you're not the future, and then knocked him through a tree. I like the idea that you will not be powerful enough to take on certain enemies right away.
Yeah, and like an RPG, right action RPG, RPG light. Like Assassin's
it really
Creed.
is. You got to build yourself up before you can go after one of them.
Yeah,
and that's going to be so cool to have that in a Halo game.
Yeah,
indeed.
I mean, listen, folks, what can I say? This has been an incredible show. We were able to maintain such a large panel, and we were able to really kind of power through everyone's thoughts without rushing. I loved everyone's opinions. So let's get to the outros. We will get everyone out here. First of all, I got to thank Bango Mango and Uso Vinny for joining us today. Guys, listen, talking with you behind the scenes was a joy, but having you on today's podcast was a complete honor. I want you to sell your brand, and we'll start first with Bango Mango. Brother, tell everyone where they could reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, talk about your podcast and what you guys do over there and why people should tune in.
100%. I got two things to jump on before I go. One, to address all the people that in regards to all the Halo chat that we talked about, look at it as a whole, guys. There's going to be a bunch of people on the mean streets of Twitter or in general just dogging on top of it. And normally those people take one narrative and try to run it like that's the whole game.
Yeah.
You don't sit down with your brother or sister on a first date and be like, oh man, this blonde's a brunette. It's the end of the deal. That doesn't happen. No normal person does that. So try and see it in the aspect of gaming wise, everything that the panel touched upon. We're all stoked for Halo. And especially if you're a gamer, especially if you're a Halo fan, my God, you have everything to be excited for. Now, the second thing is definitely appreciate. I gotta give Brother Boom his credit. I told him in the DMs that I would give it to him his praises, and I'm gonna give it to him. We have this thing in Hawaii called Aloha. Now, people that aren't from here would think that's just a word to say hello. Like the equivalent of Texas and howdy. Which it is. It means hello, but it also means. There's also a thing within it that's just love, and it's a love that no matter who you are and no matter what skin tone or personality or thing that you have, you give love to that person unconditionally. And I have to say, Boom, in regards to your podcast, I see that. I see the aloha that you give off into people, and not just you, whether it be Wandering Dutch and his midweek mix-up, or Kea Santi and Everborn in the Gaming Circle podcast, Mag and Cybernox, and all the people in the chat. The community in itself is something that just gives out that type of aloha. And then from Hawaii, I just want to let you guys know we feel that. And that's something going into my last point in Talk Story is what we try to aim to do. We try to give aloha to the people that come on. We try to make it a platform where, one, we can represent Hawaii in the gaming space. Because honestly, I don't know much people from Hawaii talking about games or creating those types of platforms. A little tidbit, if you see anyone in a gamer tag that has an 808 in it, that's normally a person from Hawaii. And so, yeah, that's our area code. So we rep it all the time. Ever since Halo 2 in the chats, man, someone's from Hawaii when they put an 808 inside there. I know that's also maybe ATL's one, but 808, that's a good way to spot someone that's from Hawaii. And so now I think we just want to build a platform for the people of Hawaii to have something they can go to, similarly to the platforms that each and every one of you guys are building for your own community. We just hope in Talk Story we could do the exact same thing. And the same way you guys are doing for us, bring people with that voice on top just to talk games. Because you don't know how much people out there that are striving with passion, have all these good insights. And then when you just have someone that pays it forward like you guys do and give them a voice, man, they can shine. And that only adds to the community in general. So again, you can check us out at Talk Story Podcast on YouTube. And then our Twitter will be Talk Story Pod HI. And you can check us out there. And of course, just with our own individual gamer tags or things on Twitter, each of our names should be the thing on top Twitter as well.
Yes, absolutely. The folks, I just dropped their YouTube channel into the chat. Please, if you wouldn't mind, I would definitely say that if all you have to do is listen to just one podcast, and you know that you have something special there. And obviously, I say with when I promote other people's thing, hashtag BoomStick approved. And if I'm giving you the thumbs up, trust me when I tell you, I wouldn't give you any bad information. Check these guys out, give them a sub, and support our brothers from Hawaii. Yuso, Vinny, brother, it was great to work with you. We definitely got to do this again. Please tell everyone where they could reach out to you on social media, but more importantly, talk about your show and what else you guys are bringing to the gaming space all the way from Hawaii.
Yeah, man. Like I said, you can find me at Uso Vinny on Twitter, Xbox, PSN, same all across the board. But with our podcast, we invite everybody to show up, not even just from Hawaii. We love having guests from all over the world, including the mainland is what we like to call it. And just check us out, help us to grow. And if you like our content, please stay for the luau,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
But I just want to say a huge thank you to Mr. BoomStick. Thank you for having us on, man. This is such a blessing. It was so much fun. Like, I never had this much fun on a podcast before. And thank you to the panel for having us and just showing us aloha, and big mahalo to all of you guys.
Well, thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And I definitely got a guest on your show. We will make that happen for sure in the coming months. But thank you so much for being here, brother. It'd be my pleasure to join. Wandering Dutch, you remember what it was like being a small show. And I think that your show just continues to shine each and every week. The guys that you have on your show on the midweek mix-up is just phenomenal. And you guys always are talking top-notch topics. Brother, please sell your brand and tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media and get the best beard in the business talking to them.
Definitely. Yeah, I actually just gave us a little bit of a trim yesterday. It was getting a bit wild.
Well, you're a Viking. That's what Vikings do.
Oh, definitely. I need to get the
Since I'm over this
feeds and things back in again. It's been a while. But yes, you can find me, of course, on YouTube at Wandering Dutch and on Twitter at Wandering Dutch. This week, of course, no doubt, our panel have been reacting just as much as we have here to the Halo Infinite trailer, and of course, extremely happy with what we've seen from it. So we'll be discussing Halo as well this week, and of course, there's been quite a few other topics that have landed throughout the week. So we do try to cover everything, or at least as much as we can, depending on how big the panel is. As you know, Boom. Sometimes you have to trim down the fat and just stick to the meat and potatoes and the big topics. But yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Of course, our panel is growing. We have, of course, the Midweek Mix-Up Collective. If anybody doesn't know that, it is to assist, should we say, smaller creators through our growing community. Yep. To grow their growing communities as part of ourselves. We provide everything from technical support to channel overlays, graphics, artwork, anything in between, just to help them get them up and running, whether that be help with YouTube algorithms and everything in between. Of course, we've got Living Split Screen, Pong and Steel on there. We've got Xbox Mick. We've got General C. We've got Gamers Watch Crew. And our final one was 1 Hour One Decision, which is another awesome, smaller podcast. And they're just an awesome bunch of guys. We'll be growing again our collective in the new year, but and we want to help these guys kind of hit their minimum benchmarks first. So get them up to a few hundred, and then, of course, get the ball rolling onto their first 1,000. Once they've got that, of course, our only thing and our only kind of remit for doing this in the first place is to just pass on that love. So, of course, one day we hope more people will push the support that we've provided them and pass that on to somebody else.
Hang it forward, brother. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, pay it forward. Always do that. That's what it's about. And others have done that to me, and that's really how I want to repay it. Of course, there's no amount of kind of what I do that's going to help repay people that have given me the spotlight and given me kind of the voice to help my community grow. So pay it forward, and again, in kind, do that to others that have helped you. So yeah, awesome again tonight. It's been a blessing with both Mango and Yoso Vinny. I have jumped in on your podcast a couple of times, and I think I was in chat a week or so ago. Usually I'm listening to podcasts while I'm doing work, so don't mind me if I'm not like always active in people's chats, but I am listening.
Well, we definitely appreciate it, brother. And listen, anything that we can do to help you grow, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what family does, and that's what we are. K Asante, brother, we're going to leave it up to you to talk about the Gaming Circle podcast. Another fantastic episode. You guys just continue to build an audience, and you deliver each and every Saturday. Sell your brand, and where could people reach out to you on social media?
Thank you so much. Well, excuse me. I will say first and foremost, Bango Uso, you have a new subscriber. I will be in your chats. I'll be listening. You know, I've seen a little bit of the work you guys have done, and it's very impressive. And as you guys have come and represent here, it's very clear that you guys are belong in this community, and it's only onward and upward from here. So thank you guys so much for gracing us with your presence. And you know, we'll become more than people you see. We'll start communicating. You'll see us on your shows. We'll see you on ours. That's how it's going to go down. So I appreciate. Yes, indeed. I appreciate you guys coming, and I appreciate the entire audience. You know, today was a better day for Halo lovers everywhere, as you can tell. So yes, as for me, you can find me TKO Asante on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation. The Gaming Circle podcast on Saturday. Last Saturday was very, very fun. We had Infinite Umbra on the show.
Yes.
He came with his Spaces brethren, and we had a lot of fun on that show. It was real good. It was really, really fun. We went deep into our shame bags and pulled out a bunch of games we haven't played before. And I have been playing. Yes, I've actually been playing a bunch of those old games since that time. You know, we had a bunch of the community members pull up. We really appreciate that. I think I even saw like Mr. Joy in the Dark, who happens to be in the chat. He was there before. He's asking, are we going to talk about the Wu-Tang game? We'll talk about that one next week, but I'm playing the old one. So we're gonna talk about that. There's so much conversation to still be had, but you know, I appreciate everybody who pulls up, and Thursdays we're also obviously going to be doing the Gaming Circle. We'll be doing the On the Real podcast, which the man has already alluded to. He has been to the Spice Mine, so I suspect we'll be speaking extensively about that.
Spice Mines.
Yes, we'll be going deep on that.
I'm going to have some hot takes.
I suspect you will. It'll be an interesting episode. I hope we should bring some interesting guests to that show as well. You know, right?
Never.
Come on, please. That man never. He's always so level-headed, isn't he? Okay. Anyway. So yes, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Thank you for continuing to help us grow. It's exponential, and I'm so grateful for it. You know, please continue liking, subscribing to this channel and all the others, and the creators who are here just being a part of the community. And we will, of course, see you guys next week.
Yeah, real quick, I want to shout out Lethal Terminus. Oh, well, we got to shout out Lethal Papa for being the boss mod of boss mods. But Lethal Terminus, we were talking in the DM, he dropped some monster Halo info for stuff that I actually had wrong regarding the Banished. He knows his P's and Q's, so big shout out to Terminus for setting Boom straight. Definitely appreciate that. But Everborn Saga, obviously this Thursday is going to be around the corner. You're going to be talking Dune. You're going to be talking the Spice Mines. And, you know, obviously the Eternals reviews are out. People are excited.
58, by the way. I'm seeing that that's the score, the Rotten Tomatoes score right
58,
now.
like 5/8?
58.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
wow.
But I don't know. I gotta check that. I gotta back that up. But it's
I knew it.
Things could get crazy.
Oh boy!
Well, I mean, I listen to a lot of movie podcasts, and I think that there are two minds to this. If you loved Endgame, then you're probably going to really enjoy this. If you liked the Infinity Saga, the first part, you may not, because that was more action oriented. Even though there's action here, there's a lot of talking. And I'm okay with that because Endgame was my favorite of all time. I've watched it over 100 times and absolutely loved it. But
more of an Infinity War man, and I don't know how you could love that after what they did to the Hulk. We're gonna ignore that today, Boom.
Lander, boy.
Just saying.
So yeah, so obviously talk about your show, brother, and more importantly, talk about the Everborn Saga. You got something big coming up, and we got to get the people to support you like we did the first time. You got a little Kickstarter project launching next month. Talk about that.
Yes. So we are launching the newest Everborn series, the Redlands. I think it's our best work to date. It is 63 pages, full color. Wow. You know the quality of the work that we do, but you are going to love it. It is a revenge tale, but it's also sort of Aladdin meets Ocean's 11 in this fantasy anime genre that we try to do. It is just, I shared some pages. I won't do it right now because I don't have the link up, but we'll share it next Monday so people can get an idea of what we're in store for. But I promise you, if you like any of the work that we've done, this will surpass that. So we're going to launch that Kickstarter on November 7th, and it's going to run for 30 days. So that's going to be exciting. But right now, there's exciting stuff right now because we did just launch Prince of Arcadia Ultimate Edition Books 2, which has chapters 3 and 4 in it. And it's completely remastered with like 20 pages of bonus content. So check that one out, 122 pages. And like I said, if you didn't get Ariel's Adventure by now, that's also there on the website. So that's everbornsaga.com. And Everborn Saga everywhere. That is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, PlayStation, Xbox, Steam. You can find me in all those places. I'm pretty active on Twitter, and I try to follow everyone back who follows me, because if you took that time to be interested enough in what I have to say, I want to hear what you have to say too. Unless it is that Halo is bad, then I don't want to hear from you. But that is a different story altogether. But on the Real, every Thursdays at 8. It is like this show, but we talk about TV and movies. And it's going to be a big show this week. I'm trying to see if we can get Slow-Mo on there, because he's like the biggest Dune apologist that I've ever met. So that is going to be interesting, because I might
notice how he said apologist, not fan.
I might have to treat Paul like I do Bruce, but we'll understand that later. But yeah, big show, and we're gonna talk about some other things too, because there's some new stuff. Obviously, there'll be some Foundation talk, and there's a new show called Invasion that seems very interesting that I'm gonna check out.
That's actually on Apple TV. That looks pretty interesting for sure. Well, we'll definitely check you out this Thursday, and brother, thank you.
Oh, wait, one more thing. Can we have a moment of silence for the soldier? No, not for Locke. Locke is alive, because we're not rioting. We're not in the streets. That's how we know Locke is alive. But
over the
R.I.P. Locke.
We have a moment of silence for that poor cadet that Chief lied to, looked him in his face and lied, and told him you're safe now, and then
threw him off a bridge.
There were two.
He don't got Spartan armor on. He's wearing a t-shirt. It's not like he's Vin Diesel, where the wife beater never gets dirty on it. Right? The man's wearing a t-shirt, and you're driving a warthog off a cliff. Chief, I don't know about you, Chief. This is why you got to bring back Locke. But anyway, shout out to that guy, whoever he was.
Oh my goodness,
his life was too short.
It was saved and then killed all at the same time.
It's in a flip of a coin. It's a cold Halo ring, and like he said, you don't have to be afraid anymore, because you'll be dead. But anyway, that's all I got, folks.
Mag, let's get you on out of here, brother. Thank you so much for being here, as always, and listening to this afternoon show in a dry food closet. I mean, man. that's being a fan, brother. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you, potentially check out your very zany videos. If you ever seen his unicorn, I keep calling it Unicorn Nation. It is what is it? What is it now?
It's Pegasus Nation.
Pegasus. Dad, why can't I think about that? Pegasus. I bought a Pegasus in Assassin's Creed.
You bought Pegasus for Odyssey.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Listen, where could people check out your very zany videos that you force your poor wife into helping you make?
She loves it.
You said that. Those are your words. You said my poor wife. But also, you got something special coming up soon with your brother. Talk about that, brother. Tell us what you can tell us.
Well, yeah, I can't tell you all of it, but I am working with. First of all, if you want to see my ridiculous videos, yes, you can follow me on Twitter at the Middle Age Game Guy. That's with a GY at the end, of course. And I do have something coming up real soon that should really, really ruffle a few feathers, and I might get in a little bit of trouble for it. But guess what? No art goes unpunished. So you know what? You got to stick your neck out there sometimes. And hey, you take me down, but you're going to take me down laughing, and I'm going to take a bunch of people with me. It's going to be funny. Anyways, enough of that. On the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, you could find me at all one word, all capitals, because I don't know how to be quiet. I am the Mag. And of course, yes, I do have a project coming up probably in about 6 or 7 weeks. And it's something I'm working with my brother who owns his own site called Pulse Music Media. And he's also a professor at the University of Toronto for music and everything else, and a professional musician and performer. So in collaboration with Microsoft, we will be working on something very soon. We will be revealing something very soon. We've already been working on it. So anyways, when that comes a little bit closer to fruition, you guys will obviously know I won't be shy about it. And it will be really interesting. And surprise, it's coming out in December. So do a little detective work there, folks. Anyhow, guys, it was a great show. Yusuf, Vinny. And my goodness, I almost said Mango Bango. I was going to say Mango Bango. Yeah, it's been a long day. You guys are so awesome. I've seen you guys in the chat all the time. We follow each other on Twitter and everything else. It was an absolute honor to actually work with you guys tonight and listen to what you had to say. And let me tell you something, man. Both of your vibes are so chill, so awesome, so positive.
Yes.
Is the key to all of this. It's about positivity, right? And you guys just ooze it. And that's what this gaming community needs more of. So guys in the chat, if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube chat, please get in there and go check these guys out. Positivity is what's going to bring us forward.
Hey,
but anyways,
on that point, Mag, a lot of people sacrifice future growth for quick growth with the negativity.
Yeah, don't be a flash in the pan, brother.
It doesn't pan out for them.
Exactly.
Positivity is slow and steady growth. The tortoise beats the hare every time. So
exactly.
Same ideology with a shooting star. Very bright for a moment, and then it's gone.
Exactly. So you know what? Stay positive, gents, because what you guys are doing is already great. And let me tell you something. I'm a great reader of people. And immediately, as soon as you guys start talking and the way you talk and your personalities and everything else, already, you're just like, you know what, man? These guys are the real deal. So let's keep it that way. Go check these guys out. But anyways, guys, it was a great show tonight. Absolute pleasure. Guys, we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, brother. And, Eternal Umbra. Dude, hit me up in the DM. Let's get you on this program and get you some
smoothest voice out of Chicago. Get that man on this.
Let's get smoothest voice. Chi-Town.
That's right.
Certainly not the best pizza when you talk about New York. But you know what I mean.
Listen, we gonna have that slanderous conversation.
Internal. Yeah, definitely DM me, brother. Let me check out your schedule and see what we can get.
Doesn't Umbra sound like DL Hughley, or is it just me?
I can get a little bit of that, but he's talking about wanting to be a voice actor, so he can put it on as he needs to. The man's got talent,
He certainly does after what he displayed last week for sure. And obviously, Cyber Chief 117, brother, thank you so much for being here. Please, by all means, sell your brand. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media and what you got going on with the with your the Xbox Game Pass Club. Are you still doing that, and is that coming back in a big way?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Boom. Yeah, that's coming back in a big way in a couple of weeks or so. It's just right now things are a little bit crazy with work and side jobs and things like that. So, the holidays are coming. I have to do what I have to do. But Yeah, so I really appreciate being here, guys. Cyberknox everywhere, Xbox. That's Xbox, Twitter. That's where I'm mostly more active there. Mango, Vinny, a real pleasure. Awesome having you guys here. Apologies that I was late. I just subscribed to you guys as a YouTube channel as well. I love what you guys represent, where you guys were meaning, exactly what Mag said. The whole Aloha speech, Mango, that you gave, man, that's amazing. And I think exactly what Everborn, Mag, what we're all about here. We want to grow together as positive as we can. We don't need none of that. We have fun, but you can see that each one of us here, we try to bring positivity, man. That's what this world needs.
Yep.
But yeah, guys, Cyberknox everywhere. I do have a couple of things cooking in the background as well. Once I'm ready to speak about it, I will go ahead and give it a huge shout out here on the channel. But yeah, can't wait for next week. The only thing that I don't like is that we're still 6 weeks away from Halo. But
yeah,
we got to be here before we know
we
it.
got four.
Catch
up
on the lore.
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely,
so
for sure.
Yeah, it was great being here.
Well, listen, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Chat, thank you so much. The super chats were incredible once again. I appreciate it. Mrs. BoomStick and I, obviously, we do pay it forward by doing these big giveaways, and we have two big ones coming up. The Christmas one, you guys know, is a special one that we're going to be announcing towards the end of the month, and that's coming directly from Mrs. Boom herself. Can't wait to talk about that. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you, and that's something that my father taught us when we were kids, and he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome time. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends.